What's up, guys? Dr. M3 here. So I want to talk to you guys about some really exciting news. As you guys have been following the automotive world, we got two major and maybe diametrically opposed news events this week. The first is the Lamborghini Urus, which is their new super sports SUV, supposedly the fastest SUV around, yet to be seen. But we also saw a few nights ago the new McLaren, the Mclaren Senna, which is a part of their new Ultimate series. This car belongs in the same category as a hypercar as their P1 GTR. So this is the third in the lineup. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that car in just a moment. But let's talk about the Lamborghini Urus, their SUV. As many of you know, in the 1980s, Lamborghini literally invented the sports utility vehicle market with their vehicle at the time, the LM002. Come to think of it, I did a video of that car in Italy, which wasn't fun to drive. It is big, it's ginormous, but oh my God, is it an amazing car. It is imposing. Anyway, they invented that market in the 1980s, and now this represents, I guess, the next generation of that, although the cars are nothing alike. Well, this new Lamborghini is a 4.0 liter V12 bi-turbo engine producing 650 horsepower and creating some ridiculous amounts, 626 foot-pound of torque. And it's all-wheel drive, and oh my God, it supposedly has a 0 to 60 time, which is ridiculous for an SUV, of 3.6 seconds. That's faster than some sports cars. And so that is why they're laying claim that this is and will be the fastest super SUV, or super sports SUV as they're calling it. Price is somewhere around $200,000. And so the big question for me is, what am I thinking about this car? Well, let me say this. First of all, let me tell you the story from 2012. So I was invited to an event in New York City on the Lower East Side, where I guess it's the Lower West Side, where they actually showed this vehicle. In fact, Ed Bolian has a great story on VinWiki. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and look in the cards above here. You'll see the story that Ed tells about this. But I was there with none other than Team Salamone and a few other of my friends to see the unveiling of this new car. We didn't know what it was when we got there, but it was the Urus. And it was a car that they were trying to cross-shop. They wanted our customer or consumer feedback on the design of the car, what sort of engine should be in it, what sort of performance we would expect. The car was probably 80% done as a concept, but it was really, really cool to see that they were actually potentially even thinking about an SUV, because we think of Lamborghini as a sports car company, not necessarily SUV, even though they invented it back in the 1980s. And of course, we saw the concept of the Estoque, which is more of an estate four-door car. I love that thing. I wish they would build it. And actually, I probably would have preferred that maybe to the Urus. But that being said, we've got the Urus. It's coming. It's going to be a 2019 model. And so when we first saw this car in New York, I was like, oh my God, it had this carbon skin. The interior had these crazy pads, which I'll show you in just a moment. Just amazing. Awesome. I loved it. It was edgy, it was aggressive, and remember now, this was only a year and a half or so after they had introduced the Aventador, this radical car with sharp lines, and now they had this aggressive-looking SUV. Well, fast forward 5 years later, here we have the production model. And I give Lamborghini a lot of credit because they actually created the production vehicle that's fairly close to the concept. So, the thing that I'm probably most disappointed in this car, because overall I love it, and so we're going to configure one here today. I love it. The only thing that I wish it had was a true Lamborghini engine. Unfortunately, the V10 and the V12 engines are too big for this car. So it is a 4.0 liter twin turbo V8 that's in this car. So it's their first, yeah, it's Lamborghini's first turbo car. And it's kind of out of the RS line from Audi, I believe, kind of like the RS6 line. But solid engine, but I wish the heart of the beast was, in fact, a Lamborghini engine. You tell me what you think. Does that make a difference to you that it's not a Lamborghini, that it's not a V10 or a V12 engine, that is actually forced induction? All right, so let's go on beyond that. Let us go ahead and actually configure our own car, because after all, that's what we want to do, right? We want to see our own Lamborghini. So I'm going to configure it the way I would do it. So let's go. So right here is the configurator. If you go to the Lamborghini website, you can choose the model Urus, and then you can configure your car. Now, there are a couple of interesting choices. I am going to tell you that Lamborghinis are all about color, right? This is an aggressive car. I've had a yellow Lamborghini before, so maybe that's not the color I want to go with. You have a bunch of choices here, and so we're just going to go through the palette. So we're going to select the paint. You have the black, you have yellow, and then you have Bianco. The metallic paints, I actually like blue Helios, which is really nice. So I'm going to choose that as my color. Oh my God, that is so good looking. Wow. Wow, that is pretty cool. Let's do a 360 on this bad boy. Look at this. Wow. This is good looking. I don't like the wheels. We're going to change that in just a second, but we're kind of going through it. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty sweet. All right, so let's just go back one step here and just keep configuring the car. So the next thing we're going to do after we've selected our color here is to choose the wheels, because of course that makes it, and I don't really like those wheels. I like the NAF 22s. You just got to go with 22s, right? You just got to go big. Go big or go home. So we're going 22s, and they look freaking awesome on this. So that's what we're doing. And I'm going to do the diamond finish. They have it in silver, titanium matte, or diamond finish. So I think we're going to go diamond finish. So let's choose that one, and boom. Oh, that looks so good. All right, now we need to choose the brakes. Now, on a blue car, I think the red calipers are the way to go. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks good. Yes. Yep, that's it. Red calipers it is. All right, let's take a look at, we want the panoramic roof for sure. So we'll do that. And I don't think we need roof rails. We'll do privacy glass. We've got that already. And now we need to go to some of the details. We're going to choose the style package. Let's go into the style package and see what we've got. Shiny black style package or body color. I think I like the body color instead of those areas being, you know, being black. I think we ought to choose body color. That's interesting. It forces us out of Helios and brought us into the other blue. We're going to leave it. Let's just go with it. I still love this blue. All right, so let's see what else. We have our exhaust package here. And we're going to go matte black exhaust pipes because you just have to do that. You just got to do it. So we've got that. Let's take a look at the interior now. Which interior is, again, I love the interior of this car. This car is just freaking unbelievable. It's just amazing. So we've got to choose our color and trim on the inside. They've got unicolor leather, Sportivo, Elegante leather, unicolor Alcantara, Sportivo Alcantara. I love Alcantara. It keeps you in the seat. So let's go Alcantara. And So we have blue on the outside. I say we go red for it. What do you guys think? Oh, yes. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. And then we've got to choose the inverted stitching. So I think that's what we will do. That looks pretty good. Tone on tone. Okay, perfect. We'll do inverted stitching. Let's see. Then we need to choose the special trim. So we said Cusatera. I like the Cusatera. That's the diamond stitching on the seat. And that looks even more insane. The floor mats, I think we've got to go leather with the piping. We're going to do red piping. My God, look at that. Wow. That interior is insane. The steering wheel, we have to go, yeah, you don't want to overdo it here. I wish we had carbon fiber. They have a leather suede. We have a perforated leather, and then we've got leather with the contrast color. I think the contrast color is a little too much. Let's do perforated leather on this, because I don't want to have to wear gloves. That looks great. The seat belts, blue electric front. You have heated configuration, embroidered. We've got our seat belt. Unfortunately, the seat belts are all in black, so you can't do much there. And let's see, we have carbon fiber interior. So we're going to do the big carbon fiber package. They have a small package. We want to go big. So we're doing the big carbon fiber package. Wow, that interior is just gorgeous. Wow. All right, so then we have a few more options here to set up the Urus. We have options for the heads-up display, which we're going to add. We're going to do night vision, of course. You just got to do it. They've got some driver's assistant packages here, like lane departure, road sensing, hands-free tailgate. I guess why not, right? These are all, I mean, I tend to option out my cars. So let's just take a look and see what we've come up with on this, because it's pretty good here. So this is our car. So here it is. Wow. This is one good looking setup. So that's my setup for the Urus. Tell me what you think. All right. So that will end it for the Urus. I want to know what you think. Is this something Lamborghini should be making? Should we be looking at a different car? Should they go to the Estoque instead? But, you know, the Urus is coming. So the big question for you is, should this become my new daily driver? Because that's what it would be. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Talk about the McLaren Senna. This is, again, the third in the line of the Ultimate Series. Remember, they have the P1 in one category, then you have the 688, 675, 650, and then the 570S. So there are three categories. And so there's a Super Sport, and then there is a Sport Series. Ultimate, Super Sport, and Sport Series. Well, the Senna happens to be in the Ultimate Series. So it's a third in the line, P1 GTR, and now we have the Senna. This is an amazing, amazing car just from the stats alone. This thing weighs something on the order of, 240, almost 250 pounds lighter than the P1. Just think about that for a second. It's lighter than the P1. Producing somewhere around 700, almost 800 brake horsepower. It's 789, so we hear 800 horsepower from that same, I'm sure it's modified, but it's the 4.0 liter V8 twin turbo engine. That engine has been remarkable. It's unfreaking believable. But this thing does some crazy, crazy numbers. They're going to be making about 500 of them. Now, the controversial thing about this car is obviously its design and look. And I always tell people, you can't rely on the pictures that you see from unveilings that come from camera phones or even quality cameras, because the lighting's not quite right, you could never really appreciate a car. And in fact, even from photographs, you have to see the car in 3D, in person, to really be able to judge it. So I'm reserving judgment on the design of this car. I can tell you, I've said it before, I'm challenged by the design of the 720, because I think there are some overhangs on the car that's a little bit more accentuated. I don't like the headlights on the car, but you know, other people do, and it grows on you over time. And so I would say you have to wait and see what you think about the new McLaren Senna. This is a track to street to track car. I mean, that is what it's designed, straight up, to be able to do that and do it flawlessly and seamlessly. So there's no question that this is function over form in its design. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about this new McLaren. I'm gonna put a bunch of pictures in this video here, and you just tell me what you think. I think it's pretty interesting. Again, McLaren is pushing the limits. They're about performance. You see the 720S now just demolishing virtually every other car out there, and it's because it's probably pushing more horsepower than McLaren says it is. So talk to my buddy. In fact, I'm gonna put a couple of links to Brooks from Drag Times. His videos are just amazing, showing the 720S just destroying like everything in its path. But clearly, McLaren is about performance. They've got the tradition, they've got the history. So I'm just curious to what you guys think. What do you think about the new McLaren Senna? How does it compare look-wise compared to the other cars in the Ultimate series, the P1 and the P1 GTR? And of course, as I said, I think the performance is just going to be ridiculous. It's not going to compare. But then again, the 720S was probably getting close to, if not beating, I hate to say that, the P1. Is that possible? Or comes really close? So yeah, it makes sense that we have a Senna. They're going to be making 500 of these beasts. I'm hoping to see it sometime soon. I will probably see it in Geneva if I don't see it before then. But I'm just curious as to what do you guys think of its design and the performance numbers that you're seeing. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about these crazy announcements this week. I have some interesting content coming up for you. I'm going to be going to California, to LA, probably in January. You'll hear more about it because I want to do a couple of really cool stuff. And if you're around in California or in LA, I want to meet you because we're going to do some really cool stuff, and I'd like to get you guys involved with the channel. So until next time, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video.